What is up, CineNerds? I'm Ryan,
And I'm GP Cross.
and I just have one question for you. Are you guys ready to kill some Nazis? Some
Some
Nazis?
Nazis? Some Nazis?
Today, I chose Inglourious Basterds, the Quentin Tarantino film, and it's a doozy. I love this one. I was happy to pick this, and I also felt for obvious reasons, I believe that this was an appropriately timed movie. So we'll just dig into it.
Um, and when was the first time you saw this movie? I'm sure you've seen this movie before.
So I saw this movie in the theaters the first time because I was a big fan of going to see Tarantino movies. But then I watched it one other time about that was 2009, maybe 5 years after that, and then I hadn't seen it since. This is my third time watching.
Oh, really? You've only seen this a few times then?
Yeah, I mean I remember the first two though because it definitely was a good movie that left a fun impact. But at the same time though, I felt again it was appropriate for the times.
So I did not watch this in the theater, but I watched it soon after it hit DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever it hit at the time. But yeah, I've seen this movie so many times, and I'll randomly, if I don't know what to put on, I'll randomly put this movie on in the background just because it's a fun movie to have on in the background. So like
That's fair.
I've always had a appreciation for this movie, just like an appreciation for a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. I do the same with Django. I do the same with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, um, which is obviously a newer film, but I already do it for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And we've talked in previous episodes too about um, my love for Brad Pitt. you know, I have a weird fascination with Brad Pitt movies because I think he's just a wonderful actor.
So yeah, no, to piggyback off that, to be fair, I love having this on in the background as well. And just I mean, let's put it this way, since I said it was a third time rewatch, this movie would be an amazing choice for that. But I was gonna say I have not seen Django Unchained yet. And you referenced that
Really?
one. No, I haven't watched that one yet. Oh wow.
Oh
That was quite
wow,
the reaction. Yeah, well,
that's
here's
that's oh man, wow,
oh shit. Is it that good?
yes.
All right. All right.
But we may have to just do an episode for Django.
A first time raw feel.
Yeah, because if you've never seen it, then I think we need to do that episode and actually see your reaction after watching it and do the review.
All right. Yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things about it, and Tarantino, so it is what it is. Um, no, but Inglorious Bastards, this movie, if I were to say initial impressions on my third watch, if I were to go for that, because again, it's pretty well spaced out. I would say this movie resonates in a great way. This movie revolves around film in a small but significant way for the plot. It has an amazing cast, all delivering amazing executions of acting. There's even a serious role from fucking Mike Myers, which I was not expecting. And I was waiting for him to like break character because he looked like he was in an SNL skit in the character he was playing, but it didn't happen. He stayed serious, and I appreciated that. Um, I like the fantasy aspect of the demise of Hitler. Uh, I like all things about this movie. If I'm being frank, the only things I probably didn't care for is some of the camera stuff, and I'll get to that later.
So, excuse me. So I want to read one fun fact, trivia fact on this because when I read this, I didn't read any more fucking trivia facts on this film because this one resonated with me so much. I was just like, this is the best trivia fact about this film that I have ever seen, and it just made me. I just talked about how I love Brad Pitt films and how I think he's a wonderful actor. This trivia fact just proves why I really like this guy, and it made me love him even more after reading it. And you may have saw this,
The Brad Pitt role.
the trivia fact.
Go ahead.
The this is the only
Yeah.
Brad Pitt movie that he played a leading role for the Weinstein Company, and um he only did it to work with Quentin Tarantino because he wanted nothing to do with Harvey Weinstein. His animosity for Weinstein stems from an incident in the 90s where Pitt physically physically threatened the producer upon learning of Weinstein's sexual harassment of his then girlfriend Gwyneth Paltrow. When I saw this, I just it all clicked on why I have such a love for Brad Pitt because that is fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, yeah, I respect him as well. He every role he's in, he does well. He does phenomenal. There's no, I don't have a negative role of his per se that I could actually think of. So I'm a fan of all aspects of when he's done stuff, but the character of certain actors off screen matters a lot to me. And you know, I don't know much about Pitt. I don't hear much from him in certain aspects, but this one, that one, to me, these are red flags that were never addressed. These are red flags that people have been talking about for years about the extent of sexual harassment, about the children in Hollywood, child actors, all these things that are really coming to the forefront right now are pretty brutal. And this little instance, like, of him having to go and threaten for his girlfriend because of a sexual harassment incident, and it just not really ever being a big thing in the news, like, that's kind of concerning, and the fact that people were just turning their blind eyes to it. So yeah, no, I appreciated that aspect.
Yeah, yeah. As soon as I read that, I was just like, "There's no other trivia fact for this film that would be more important to me than that one."
Yeah, no, for sure, I can respect that. um
And
Good.
and I was gonna say, and I love that because he's kind of a Southern boy too, because he's from Missouri. He grew up in Missouri anyway, so you know I got a little bit of respect there for that.
My oldest daughter, uh, if she was going to be a boy, my wife, or ex-wife, sorry, the ex-wife, she had watched Legend of the Fall one too many times, and she was adamant about the name Tristan, and I was like, sorry if your name's Tristan, guys, but I was like, I'm not doing that because of Brad Pitt. That's just not happening.
All right.
And those Southern guys, you can't trust them. I'm just fucking.
A lot of them, no.
Oh boy.
um, so yeah, Inglorious Bastards. I will say this off the rip. I wish this movie had more of the bastards.
I completely agree. And just the fact that your initial introduction with Brad Pitt talking to his men, which his entire group is all Jewish Americans, by the way, which I love that aspect too, because what better fucking karma is there than a group of American Jewish people who actually were given citizenship in our country and served for us to get to go back and just kill Nazis. Got to say Nazis the same way he said it, but
Mm-hmm.
to get back, go back and kill, and he demands 100 scalps from them each. That is their debt to him. That's all he asks, and you see scalping happening in this movie of Nazis, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, we just didn't see enough of it. But every time the bastards are on screen, I don't want to take my eyes off of it. But anytime that they're not on screen, I can find myself wandering away from this movie.
Uh, and Michael Fassbender is in this too, and he comes in and there almost I almost feel like I had a what the fuck moment when I watched this the first 3 times. The what the fuck moment is, why the fuck did they kill him so quick? Literally, he was tasked with this mission. They get into this fucking pub, and boom, he's dead. I'm like, that sucks. Like, I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to see more of it. I like Michael Fassbender. He's a great actor. But yeah, I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why did that happen? I want more of him. I wanted him to interact with the bastards and see more killing of Nazis, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and that's such a great scene. Once he's dead, you hear Brad Pitt's character going, "Is there anybody alive down there?" Yeah.
We got grenades. No, there's 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 two different story arcs happening for those of you who have not seen this movie. There's the one story arc which revolves around the main Nazi guy, which I got to remember his name here. Where is he? It is played by Christoph Waltz, and he's Colonel Hans Landa. And this guy is known as the Jewish Hunter. He doesn't like the nickname, but he was given that nickname. And his story arc starts off with him on a dairy farm in France, and he's interrogating the dairy farmer and his three daughters, and basically says, "If you're harboring Jewish refugees, let me know, and I'll handle it, and you'll be rewarded for your service." And he sells them out. And so the German soldiers come in with this colonel and they start shooting through the floor, but they miss one, and it's a young girl at the time. The young girl, you just see her running away in a field, and he almost lets her go. He could have shot her probably. The gun he had probably didn't have that range, but he seemed like he wanted to, and then he gave up. So this girl gets away. Fast forward, she's taken on a new name, and she now owns basically a movie theater in France. And this up and coming hero of the Nazi regime takes a liking to her. He starts talking about movies with her. She despises him, obviously, but he convinces uh, some of the higher ups in Germany to host this. What was it? Pabst was the guy's name, a director of the Third Reich and the future of the Third Reich in cinematography. So it's basically Nazi propaganda, Nazi movies. He wants it to be premiered in her theater because of his crush on her. Now, while that's going on, Intel gets to America that they're going to have this movie theater thing happen, but it's different location at the time. And in comes the Inglourious Basterds. The Inglourious Basterds are tasked with bringing Michael Fassbender's character into connection with this actress, and their plot is to just get into the building and blow it up while Hitler's there. And then the Jewish girl who owns under a different name owns this movie theater now, and she's appearing to be a French person. She has a different thought. She wants to take revenge in her own way because this colonel who killed her family is one of the colonels that she meets with and has to bite her tongue literally. So all these things come together almost for a perfect execution. Everything goes wrong, kind of, but it goes right in the sense that they achieve their mission. But dear God, was it good the way that they executed this? I like every aspect of it. The energy is great. The intensity from the cast is great, especially the ones like the bear and the other number two. What's his face?
Well, you have,
Spock.
yeah, you have the Bear Jew. You have Sergeant Hugo, which I like Sergeant Hugo a lot. The Nazi soldier that killed Nazis that they break out.
Well, that's the
Um,
bear.
no, that's not the bear. The Bear Jew is Eli Roth.
I thought it was.
The
All
Bear
right.
Jews, the Bear Jews that played by Eli Roth. Sergeant Hugo is the Nazi soldier that went killing Nazis, and they've imprisoned him, and the bastards come break him out. He was the one. He's the guy that played in SLC Punk.
Okay.
His name is
Yeah. No.
Till Switzwiger. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
no, I know the guy you're talking about, but I just for some reason I thought he was the bear.
No, Bear Jew is Eli Roth because he comes out and beats him to death with a baseball bat.
Oh, I think you're right. Okay, all
Oh,
right.
I know I'm right.
Well,
Eli
whatever.
Roth is the Bear Jew.
Um, no, regardless though, like both those guys are amazing. The intensity about them is just next level. I love it. Um, the whole pub scene is pretty impressive. Now, I do have problems with this movie. Don't get me wrong; it's not perfect. Part of my problem is on this third watch, I have a slight disdain in my heart right now for Quentin Tarantino. Some of his interviews lately have just been what the fuck moments because this is a director and somebody who is somebody we all hold in high regard for his cinema contributions and what he's done. But then he just comes out shitting on these small actors lately, and he's shitting on films that are he. I think it was what was it? What was the movie with? It was like stolen from Battle Royale. Um, Hunger Games.
hmm
He should
I seen where like he ran his mouth about like Matthew Lillard and stuff like that. But
Matthew Lillard and the other kid who was like a minor role in a movie. But the fact that he's shitting on people who are trying to establish themselves, dude, you need to take a step back. You need to calm the fuck down and be cool and
yeah,
don't be that guy.
well,
I have. Go
and
ahead.
that's one thing you don't do. I mean, even as us, musicians, you don't shit where you eat. You don't run your mouth about other artists.
I don't think
No
any
matter
other musicians know that in the industry because
they
they all
don't. They
do.
don't. A lot of them don't. I mean, but you don't shit where you eat because as well as I know, the music industry is a small world,
Oh
and
yeah,
every little person knows everybody in the industry, and so you don't shit where you eat. So Quentin
Ar-
running his mouth about people is literally shitting where you eat. Like,
artist and business side of that music industry, but film industry too. I mean, but
mhm.
you're right. Like, but I think Quentin has gotten such a big head in his shoulders that he thinks he is above all that and he can do whatever he wants now. And I don't care. Like, I don't care what position you're in or how big you get. Like, I believe there's uh, an aspect of humility that should always be maintained and being humble and appreciating where you came from because you were that shitty small level director that nobody believed in once upon a time. You were somebody up and coming who, if a major person shit on your small film, then that was crippling to you as you started out your career. And so for you to just say, and you got to remember these actors, him being a director especially, these actors are being directed to act a certain way. So you can't just say this actor sucked. He was unbelievable. He was this. He was that. No, that's partly the director too. There's
Mhm.
an ownership and accountability there.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
not always the actor's fault. It's the
yeah,
writer, it's the director. It could be a number of things.
what
But
one of
then
my
there is the case where the actor sucks. But
this is an interesting one. One of and I'll because this might lead to another top five at some point. But one of my top five most hated films is M Night's movie The Happening. And I don't blame the actors in that at all for how bad of a job they did because the actors were actually decent.
the thing
It was
is,
just
you
horrible.
nailed it. You nailed it with M Night.
I have a love hate for him because like one out of every three movies isn't bad from him. So
There's literally like one or two movies his entire career that I like, and that's it.
oh, well, maybe we need to. You know what? Maybe we'll do a director's list. Anyways, no,
Most hated directors. Well, M Night's
yo,
my number
that
one.
God, that could get real good. Hey, we're here. We're telling Quentin not to talk shit. Anyways, no, I just Quentin kind of that aspect is definitely something that I had to separate from while I watched this again. He was just a little bit too much in recent interviews. But that aside, too, like I felt like there was maybe two or three tops moments where there's an unnecessary almost 3 4 minutes of this panning of just or zooming in of people's people trying to make eye contact with each other and the two actors that are talking to each other and the long stare the waiting time as they're zooming in real slow. It's too much. It's just too much, dude. You're wasting
but
time.
but that was like a classic Western style. I get why he was doing that.
Yeah, but and again, it's too much though. There's that's one of those things that's you can either hit the sweet spot, you can take it too long, or you can take it too short. This movie's 2.5 hours long. It's not a short movie. And we
Yeah,
talk about editing all the time. This is one of those areas I felt like they could have made those stare downs a little smaller.
I don't know. So I liked a lot of those shots with the stare down. That's one of the things I did like because as a huge Western fan and grew up watching westerns with my grandfather, I've watched all these John Wayne films, these Clint Eastwood films, these Roy Rogers films. All these old westerns and cowboy movies, and that's just and all the even not just those the old war movies. Um, and that's what it reminded me of. So
But
I actually, for a nostalgia purpose for me, those shots I really liked. Now I agree this movie could be cut down. There's a lot of shit, and a lot of dialogue, especially a lot of the stuff with the movie theater and building up to the movie theater. Now I think that's important to have that stuff in there. But man, some of that just drug on, and especially some of the fucking creepiness of the Baron from Marvel. That's the Nazi sharpshooter. Um, what's his name?
well, that's just because you're uncomfortable with those types of things, and that's
Maybe,
fair. But
maybe.
but I because but to me that makes his death, his demise, all the better. It made it richer for me.
Yeah, it does.
So
It does.
but I see. So my issue isn't even on the back end. I didn't mind the like probably after the pub scene and forward. I didn't mind any of that movie, and it's where it needed to be cut. I think the
No, no,
before the
no,
pub
no.
scene.
I think you're right. I think everything that needs to be cut is before the pub scene, but everything within the theater and like building up. Like to me, like some of the long-winded stuff with that Jewish girl and her and her theater and stuff before the pub scene could, not saying a lot, but it could be tightened up to move a little quicker because it drags in
No,
that
yeah.
part. And once you get to the pub scene and then back to the theater after that, no, I wouldn't change a thing because the movie is pretty much on after that.
And back to your Western comparison for the stare downs. In the Western comparisons, there is literally it's short. It's almost like short, lengthy bursts, if that makes sense, where it pans back and forth. So I dug that. And the other thing with the Western thing is there's the right music where you get the, there's some kind of something making it more, it gives you an anxious feeling. Whereas in this one, there was no noise during that moment. It was just a long zoom, and I was like, what's going on? I feel like I'm uncomfortable staring at him. So it was weird. I don't know. Not for me. Maybe it's for other people, but no, I there.
Yeah, I enjoyed those shots. I did not like them.
No, I gotcha. I mean, there's definitely for some people that's definitely builds and makes it more anxious, and that's a good thing. The only other thing I complain about from there is the fact that, like you said, there's not enough screen time with the bastards. I feel that really bothered me too.
Yeah, I mean, you have the opening scene with him saying, "I want 100 scalps, and I'm going to get my 100 scalps. We're going to kill some Nazis." You get that scene, then you get to the quick scene with them in the trenches. Trying to get information of where the Nazis' camps are. You get a little bit with them getting Sergeant Hugo out of prison, and then that's kind of it until you get back to towards the end of the film, and there's not there's just not enough of the bastards, and that's that gap there. You got, like I said, this 2.5 hour long movie, and that big gap of following that Jewish girl, setting up the final act. There should have been more stuff with the bastards killing Nazis in that area.
I listen. I don't disagree with that aspect, but I do think that both her story and theirs were relevant to what was going on, and I think like hers is a revenge story without a doubt, and I love that aspect because there's always gonna be war movies about World War II and Nazis getting killed, but, I think that a personal vendetta from somebody who was wronged by the Nazis, I don't know, that one was more deep to me, that one was more intense, and kind of leading up to how that came to be, I taught I didn't I'm not bringing up politics directly, but I will say this, like, now we're at the point where ICE has been given the okay to do door to door, and check people out, and you gotta have your papers ready now and everything like that, so, like, it's sounding all too eerily familiar, like, the SS and Gestapo era Germany, and so this movie holds a lot of relevance right now. I don't recommend that anyone listening goes out and gets 100 scalps, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of relevance here.
And I'm going to have my 100 scalps.
That's a debt that is owed.
um, but no, I don't disagree. The revenge story is important to this, but there's got to be a different way to cut this and put more bastards in it. That's my only gripe about this film because everything with the bastards is over the top great. Um, the story itself is great. I even enjoy the story with the Jewish girl in her movie theater and trying to set up to a way to kill Hitler and all these Nazi leaders. Um, I mean, it's all important to the story. It's just
I
there's
feel
there's
like
a there's an editing in there that could change the dynamic of this a little better.
I feel like, and Quentin's done this before in movies, but I feel like when he does the side by sides of two different things happening simultaneously, I feel like we could have gotten her building up and getting the theater ready for what she wants to happen, while they're going from point A to point B to get to the theater, and the Nazis they're killing along the way. I feel like those could have both been shown together as they're coming together, and we would have seen a lot more of everything we wanted.
in what would you call a montage?
Ah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that works.
Do it Rocky Balboa style. Let's get this shit done.
They could do the sounds from the scalpings to the music to the beat. Oh, sorry, I did a little more Michael Myers in Halloween there, huh?
I think that was more Jason.
Yes, yes, that's what I was going for.
um, so the ending of this film with Brad Pitt and Eli Roth, the Jew Bear, and I can't remember the other guy's name right now. His name escapes me. There's three of the bastards that actually go into the movie theater, and because you know they're posing as Italians, and Brad Pitt knows the most Italian, and Eli Roth knows the second most Italian, and the other guy knows the third most Italian, and he don't know any Italian. That's why he knows the
Well,
third most.
Brad Pitt didn't know any either. It was just those two words.
He knew two
So,
words. He knew two words like uh, Arrivederci or whatever.
what was Hitler's favorite position? 69. Sorry, I had to.
Oh,
No, but let's talk into that ending a little bit. So, the goal of both parties was knowing that the upper elite of the Nazi regime would be Nazi elite would be in this theater in one place, and the goal was to blow the fuck up out of this theater, make it legendary and make it memorable. And again, this is a fantasized approach, but essentially the bear, Eli Roth, as I was corrected, sorry, JP, his character, when he gets into the opera box Hitler's in,
the bear
oh,
Jew.
yeah, but his bravo to the acting done here because his eyes, the intensity, you could almost like feel his eyes as they're staring down at Hitler because like he is literally shooting Hitler in the face until it's just an unrecognizable pile of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intense. It's awesome, and at the same time, because they know this whole theater is just filled with Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. Him and the other guy, they just literally reach over the opera box and start shooting into the theater. All the theater doors have been locked; they're trapped in there. Um, the black person who worked at the theater, who was also the French Jewish woman's love interest, he is behind the film the theater screen, and he proceeds to light all of the movie film, which is nitroglycerin. Right, they're made through
They're
nitroglycerin.
yeah they're very flammable.
Yes, they're 3 times more flammable than paper, I believe is what I looked at. And there's a mountain of this shit behind the screen, and he just goes over back there with a cigarette per her instructions and lights it up. So the theater's burning down. There's shooting going on as these guys are killing all the Nazis that are in there and killing Hitler. All the doors are locked. It's literally this like chaotic kind of beautiful karma come full circle at the end of this movie, and it's pretty rad.
And their bombs go off too because they come in strapped with bombs.
Yeah, I mean, well, they have dynamite sticks to their ankles, yeah, and oh, all the while too, mind you, Brad Pitt, what he does with this guy, the colonel tries to pull a quick switcheroo. He pulls Brad Pitt, Ando, he pulls him in as a prisoner. He catches him at the theater, pulls him in. They go away from the theater, and he basically flips and says, I need to make certain things happen. Guarantees basically, if I surrender and I let this bombing happen tonight, you give me X, Y, and Z. And so it's agreed upon. And they get to a certain point where they switch off. He
It's a
surrenders to Brad Pitt.
it's a bingo.
Bingo. uh, they agree on it though, and they get there and they do the handoff when they get to the U.S. lines. They do the handoff and the surrender, and they flip it. Brad Pitt in Brad Pitt fashion, he kills the one guy, goes, I don't need him. I'll get yelled at, but that's it. And then he proceeds to hold down the colonel because they know that they need him. And he carves a swastika in his front of his head. and that's something they did earlier in the movie too. It's just like you might be able to take that uniform off, but you're going to wear this badge with as much pride as you carried it in life, and that's what you have to deal with now. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, he says he goes, we like to know we like to know who our Nazis are. If you ain't in uniform, we don't know who you are.
Mm.
So we're gonna put a mark on you so we know.
You know, you could just use your normal voice, right, JP?
No.
And I say that as a joke because I honestly don't even hear an accent anymore. But yeah,
But he over exaggerates that accent. Yes, I sound southern. Yes, I sound like I have peanut butter in my mouth all the time. But he over Brad Pitt over exaggerates that accent. He is going like we don't like our Nazis like that. We want that carved in your head, so we know that you a Nazi when you take that uniform off. You know.
I almost feel like he pulled inspiration from his ex-wife's ex-husband. He sounded a little bit like Sling Blade at moments. It was just very, very similar. That's all. All right, so box office numbers.
I didn't look at this. I would imagine. I mean, budget. I'll start with budget. Do you have budget?
Yep.
I'm going to guess Quentin. I mean, he usually has a pretty good budget on his films, but not like 200 million. I'm gonna guess probably 50 million budget.
You're not far off. 70 million was the budget.
Okay.
Now, there's the gross U.S. and Canada and the world gross. So, any guesses there?
Um, I remember this movie making bank, from what I remember. So if the budget was 70, uh, do you want domestic or you want worldwide?
I've got both, so you can throw out what you think.
I feel like it probably did about 150 domestic. I would figure worldwide it probably didn't have a huge range for a worldwide release because I don't imagine Inglourious Basterds being played in Japan and places like that. So I'm just going to add another 50s. Let's say 200 million.
All right. Not far off on the U.S. Canada. That was 120 million.
Okay.
But worldwide, yeah, no, it was 321 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
See,
it
I
did
would, I would, I
real
would,
well.
I would have never imagined this getting a huge outside of Europe. I wouldn't have imagined this getting a huge release.
So initially, I would have thought that too, but then after I read this, I was thinking through it, and I'm like, okay, you've got French, you've got German, you've got not a lot of Italian, but Italian, or English being spoken in this movie. So I think this probably had a success rate in Europe. If I had to be honest, Europe probably
Yeah,
is what took it there.
yeah, that makes sense. So okay, because yeah, usually our big market is Japan and China, and I wouldn't imagine this film being played in those areas.
No, especially with anything that's military and involves the U.S. I see them frowning on.
Well, even Japan, with it being World War II, they don't want to be reminded of World War II.
No, not at all. No, 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 no.
Even though there's not any remarks to Japan in Inglorious Bastards, I'm sure they don't. I'm sure that probably wasn't a big release for this film in Japan.
Yeah, no, 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 no. All right. Well, let's. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
It's your movie, unless you just want to go
Uh,
first.
um, yeah, I'll get my ranking here. This movie to me is one of those movies that when it comes out, you don't know what's going on in the world at the time, and you kind of just take it for granted. You see the movie and you enjoy the movie. You're reminded of a historical approach. But this is also one of those movies that, unfortunately, now it's got a lot of symbolism and a lot of relevance to current day and modern times. So I did appreciate this third watch a little bit differently than I would have my first or second watch per se. The cast is spectacular in this. The cast all delivers a memorable performance. Some of them barely speak. That's just what's in their eyes, which is always impressive for me. The female lead is spectacular in her devotion, her commitment. I enjoyed her. I enjoyed all aspects of this, except for, as JP and I pointed out, we would like to see some more killing from those bastards. But that aside, though, as far as story relevance, start to finish, the way that it's broken out into chapters. I appreciated all this movie. This is a solid movie. Happy to have this in my collection, both physical and digital. And this one for me is 4.2 nerds.
Yeah, so we're not far off on this. And the thing with Inglourious Basterds is this is probably within my top 3 Quentin Tarantino films. And
Where would you put Django?
probably 2.
Wow. Okay. Well, now I
Yeah.
really got to see Django.
Yeah, and so this is definitely within my top 3 of Quentin Tarantino films. And when I say that, I'm also excluding Natural Born Killers because it wasn't directed by him. So top 3 Quentin films, and I love this film. Yeah, I love Brad Pitt. I like the Bastards. Yeah, it had parts that drags, but Quentin has movies a lot of films and a lot of scenes that could be cut down in a lot of his films. So that's nothing out of the ordinary for his style of directing. Um, but again, I really, really, really love this film and top 3 Quentin film for me. So I'm put it in at a 4.4. Nerds.
Okay. Nice. So I think you're definitely in the same page here, and I appreciate this movie immensely. So happy you enjoyed it too. And
Yeah, I'm just surprised that uh, you've not seen this more than 3 times, and I'm just blown away you've never seen Django. And as we've went through this episode, I've really I don't know how to. I don't know if I know how to do a Django Unchained review. I really want to do this review with you, but that movie is very racist. Very racist.
but is it done in a way that delivers a message?
Oh,
And
it delivers a message, but man, I don't know how.
I mean, you hear the name, the title, you already have to assume there's, and I've seen the trailer, so I'm familiar at least. So yeah, I bet that's there, but probably no more racist than this movie or any other. So
Hmm.
Movie, should I say? Because there's always a racist undertone in his movies.
Oh, this one's not undertoned. Django's not undertoned.
All right. Well, like I
you,
said,
you
I'll
you
give it.
got
I'm gonna give it a watch.
you got Don Johnson as a plantation owner.
I mean, Miami Vice, right?
Oh, we'll figure it out because I think that one will be. I really am interested in your opinion of Django. So, film recommendations. You got any?
Why don't you go first, there, buddy? I was going to ask what your. I thought Django was your recommendation.
No. We're just talking Quentin. So,
No,
since we're doing Inglorious Bastards, I'm going to recommend if you are a fan of Inglorious Bastards, then I'm going to recommend this film. And I think I've actually recommended this film in the past when it first came out. But I feel like this is the perfect episode to recommend it again if I did recommend it. Guy Ritchie's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Now, the reason I'm recommending this film is because it is, instead of Americans killing Nazis, it's the British killing Nazis, Guy Ritchie style. So if you like Inglourious Basterds and you like Quentin's version of killing Nazis, go check out Guy Ritchie's version of killing Nazis. And World War II has a great cast. It stars Henry Cavill. It has oh God, I know his name and I can't think of it right now, but the guy that plays Reacher, the big guy. Uh,
uh, fuck.
I know it too
That'll
because
bother me.
he played Aquaman in Smallville. He played Dove in Titans. He plays Reacher in the Reacher series. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about, even though I can't think of his name. Uh,
Rich,
Alan Richmond.
Alan.
Yeah, Alan
Yes.
Richmond. He's in that film. Like the cast is great in this film, and it's about these British soldiers that are very much like the Bastards, actually going in, and they actually attack multiple Nazi bases, but they're shipping down to this area where the supply boat that supplies the U-boats for the Nazis has all this artillery they're getting ready to pour out, and they're going down to actually stop this ship from getting these bombs and stuff to these U-boats. And it's based on a true story, but it's done Guy Ritchie style. So it's a very, very fun film. And if you like Inglourious Basterds, then you're going to really, really like Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
So my recommendation this week. So I've been, and I've said it in some of my reels, but I've been on a low budget slash independent kick lately. And so this movie is not the Leonardo DiCaprio one, but it is The Revenant. And The Revenant, the main star of this is David Anders. He was on what the hell was that show on WB, the vampire show with the blonde? That was a comic book. Oh, well, anyways, he played a vampire in the show on WB. I think that's his most notable thing that somebody would recognize him from. But in this particular movie, he plays a military person who he's in Iraq and he's driving a truck, and he's got two other people with him, and he sees a almost zombie like child in the middle of the road, and he swerves off from hitting the child. So he thinks, then he's concerned he might have hit them, stops the car, which is a no in military world, and he gets out to see it. He gets shot, and he wakes up 3 days after he's been put in the ground, a month after his death, and he is essentially the undead. But the thing I like about this is the fact that it like starts from like something chaotic kind of happening, and then it goes into this like small cast, small crew of people, and it's they don't really identify if he's a vampire or zombie per se, but it's just this thing happening to him, and the movie's just fun. It's kind of got a little bit of a Tarantino vibe to it too with zombies, so it's not bad.
You say it's called The Revenant,
Yep.
but not the Leonardo DiCaprio Revenant
No, no,
with
no,
him
no.
fighting with, because that's him fighting a bear, right?
No, no, no. Yeah, this is not. This is definitely called The Revenant in a different context, and this one is free to stream on Tubi as well.
You know what else is free to stream on Tubi?
What would that be, JP?
Curse of the Queer Wolf.
God fucking damn it! He won't let this go.
Also free to stream, the movie that came before Curse of the Queer Wolf that has an appearance of a queer wolf called a vampire. Was it a vampire in Burbank or something like
Are
that?
you fucking telling me there's a prequel?
Yeah.
What the fuck? JP also shared with me today, that this thing, Curse the Queer Wolf, whatever, only had a micro budget of $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah, it's something stupid like it's not much. It's
So I'm like dreading seeing this even further.
But you know what? You sit here and talk about how me and Megan talk about praise this movie, but Rick from the whole damn enchilada even watched it and praised this movie and could not believe at how good this movie was for what it is.
I don't care who likes it. Rick, I love you too, but you guys are all crazy because just the name in itself. I'm probably going to eat my words. Maybe it'll be good, but I really, I can't, I just can't in good faith imagine this being good based on its title alone and now knowing the budget. And there's a fucking prequel?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, based on that budget, I guess somebody got their paycheck and said, "Hey, let's make a movie."
He's the guy's done multiple films. I went to his website. He actually has a 4-pack of different 4 different films, and two of them being Vampire in Burbank and Curse of the Queer Wolf.
Ooh.
And then there's another 2 films that I want to see, and the director will sign them and send them to you for like $40, and I want to order those, and I haven't ordered them yet.
Of course he would sign them. Anyways, when I made that noise, so you guys who aren't watching because you couldn't see my face, that was a complete sarcastic noise of "ooh." It's like, but wait, there's more.
I didn't hear any sarcasm. I thought, wow, he's excited for this just like I am.
Not at all. Not at all. But this being said, we might have to look at next month doing this episode and getting this out of the way. Whether I love it or hate it, we will maybe see.
I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, All right, CineNerdsPodcast.com. Get that out there. Share. Invite your friends. Get to our Facebook. Invite them there. Get to our YouTube. Invite them there. Go to our Spotify. Invite there. Share all this stuff and invite. Build our TikTok. Help build our YouTube. Just like we were saying last week, we want to be able to stream this stuff actually to TikTok as well. So we need to build our fan base there. We need to keep building our fan base on YouTube. So just help us out. Talk to your
Uh,
friends.
and JP posted on our Facebook page. We've got a link tree as well. But JP posted a post that in the comments has all of the different likes or links, so you can go in and hit like, follow, all that fun. So he made it pretty simplistic for you, and he's got that pinned up at the top of the page too. So we'll make sure you guys can see all that to share.
Yeah, and all those links are on CineNerdsPodcast.com. And along with our shop and our posters, we still have our posters up there for sale. We have not sold out. You guys have not been ordering.
Well, I mean, there was a quick rush, and then now we've got like what, a dozen left or so.
Yeah, something like that. So,
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, you inglorious bastards, thanks for listening to us today. Hopefully, you get your 100 scalps from the Nazis, and we'll see you next week.
till next time, later.
Cheers.